Sorry. So how all of these? Sorry for having a cigarette in my hand. That's really inappropriate. I'm very sorry. I've come to, I didn't actually know it was a temple because the sign doesn't say temple. There's one signpost on the way to Tad Champi waterfall. One obviously gives directions to go straight ahead for the waterfall, and then there's another one saying Exing Dan or something. Doesn't say what it is. And I looked on them, tried to Google it, nothing on Google. Started travelling down the road and started seeing orange cloths everywhere, suggesting that it leads to a temple, and it kind of does. I don't think. See, there's some Buddhas up on these rocks. I'd suggest these rocks have always been here, but unusual in the way they're stacked. But anyway, a temple it appears to be, and I should imagine I'm probably one of the only Farangs that's ever come down here, because I can imagine what happens. I mean, I've left the motorbike down the way a little bit because the road coming in is it's dry season at the moment, so it's very sandy. Obviously when it rains it'll be very slippery. So anyway, this is obviously the temple as is currently being built. I suggest it's a long way off because to be honest with you, it's 5 kilometers away from the sign. That's what the sign says anyway, at least. And it's like this, it's very sandy, gravelly, slippery kind of road. But they've got scaffolding over there, look, see all that scaffolding? So they're obviously in the middle of preparing to build something over that side. Otherwise wouldn't have all that framework in. Although in saying that, that framework just holding trees up? It's big business out here, digging up trees and moving them and putting them in the ground somewhere else. I should imagine it's very expensive to buy these trees, but anyway, that's what that looks like. I might be wrong. No, that's not trees because they've got bits carved into them. That's obviously the foundation for a wooden structure that's going to go up at some point. Sorry, I shouldn't smoke on camera. But yeah, I mean, it's not complete. That's probably the reason why it's not on Google Maps, to be fair. But it has got a gong. So let's be probably the first foreigner, more than likely ever, to play this gong. I can confidently say that. I'm just going to say hello to Buddhas at the same time. I've just seen a lady go in there, so I know it's open. Let's go and have a look. All play on the gong. Take your boots off. Hold on a sec, folks. At least I've got my trousers on today. Let's have a look, see. Check it all out. So lady. Buddha. So even though we're 5 miles or 5 kilometers away, they still have electricity unless they've got a what's it called? A generator. I've seen that image quite a few times. My friends have those images. I don't know. Must be some real importance to them. It's a metal Buddha. Brass. Nice. Oh, these ones are nice too. And obviously these ones I think are in preparation to be put elsewhere at some point. But yeah, it's a little bit out of the way. So I can imagine I'm probably one of the only foreigners that's ever been here. We've got two gongs. One I can't get to, but I can get to this one. So let's have a go on this one. I like these ones anyway. Is it an old one? Let's just check the back of it. No writing on it. No bees or hornets' nests. That's the main thing. Anyway, let's pop you down. Chop mát.
Chọc mặt lên.
Chop. I'm gonna play this one. Do this one too. Oh, this one got writing on it. I don't think there's any hornets or bees' nests. I check for writing and bees' nests. Something's not wired up right. Yeah, something's rattling on the inside. Lady. Leave that one there. I know people can play it. Yeah, chop mac mac. Ah, ใช่ You get some clothes? Spider-Man? Spider? Shy. ไม่เป็นไร Oh, yeah. Guarantee. I'm probably the only farang that's ever played that gong. And I suggest it'll probably be, oh, I was just propping you up, put my boots back on, probably the only farang that will play it for a good number of years. Because the road leading here, one, it's not on the map. which isn't surprising because you can see it's quite a way off from being completed. Crumbs. I mean, just running electricity in here. Like this, obviously, electricity pole here. Obviously, they're going to probably have a laying Buddha or something underneath there, I should imagine, at some point. Monks' houses are there. Yeah, it's obviously not complete. They have clearly a long way to go still until it's finished. Concrete base, and then what, they then put soil on top of the concrete base. A bit odd. Why would you then put mud on top of the concrete? Why don't you just build the concrete? Oh, well, mud's obviously cheaper. Yeah, at least they have toilets, water tanks. I'm thinking for them to, ordinarily when they build a temple, it's normally fairly accessible, and the ones that aren't accessible, like easy to get to, is what I mean. It's because there's like a mountain road or something, so you obviously windy, twisty, narrow road that obviously the temples can't afford to pave, or you know, the end result basically being when you get to the temple, there's like a view or something, you know, not just the temple. You know, there's fantastic views, or a river or a lake or something along those lines. I'm kind of thinking that's maybe the case here. It's not signposted. Well, it's certainly not signposted as in Farang signpost English. And I think that's just a monk's home down there, so I won't go down there. This path has been trodden. Yeah, I'm just curious to see whether or not there's like a, you know, a river nearby or a waterfall nearby, or you know, I don't think we've come up too high in elevation, so I don't think there's like any like mountain view as such, because we're not high enough. It's a bit of a mystery, as is quite often the case when it comes to looking around temples in Laos, because I mean, new ones just aren't on the. Why are they numbered the trees for? See, pine trees. I don't think pine trees are native to Southeast Asia, are they? And it looks like. Can't quite work it out, but those look like numbers. That looks like 162. That looked like 156 or something or other. That one looks like 116. What's that? 110, 111? I don't know. Why are they writing on the pine trees? Pretty amazed pine trees actually survive this climate. I really am. There's just toilets. Oh, the path seems to go down that way. I've wandered off the path. I was just curious to see why the pine trees, which, like I say, I don't think are native to Asia at all. I think pine trees are native to Europe or the Americas. I certainly don't think they're native to Laos. No, I think again that's just, you see the wooden house down there, I think that's just again just a monk's home. I won't go invading their privacy. I have got some standards. Although if you watched yesterday's video that I uploaded, or did I upload it this morning? Anyway, the more recent upload, obviously before this one, because this will come later, some of you may actually disagree with me saying that statement, because I kind of gate crashed a funeral party yesterday. And still went inside the temple and still played the gong. There was a bunch of monks sat around quite near it. So I obviously asked, you know, I was like pointed, this is okay, mate. You know, I'm pretty sure me pointing to it, and they passed me the mallet. So there you go, that's confirmation that it was okay, wasn't it? Because as I knelt down in front of the gong, they offered me the mallet. And I took it from them, but I said, like, my and I explained that I like rubbing them rather than hitting them, but really you're supposed to hit them to wake them up and wake the space up, announce your presence and all that. So I did strike it 3 times, but not very loud, because obviously there's a funeral going on. Now, funerals, by the way, here last, I think, can be up to like a week or something. So it wasn't like the day, like the cremation day. It was remembrance kind of thing, what we would call a wake. But their wakes don't just, you know, last for a few hours after the cremation. Their wakes, if you want to call it that, can last a week, because obviously people might not be in the area, so it gives them a chance to come home and pay respects. Again, I think I just wandered into another area of where a monk's home is. Going by the amount of monks' homes, this has obviously just been trodden through where he's been going to and from each day. Yeah, and the path seems to end here. I mean, can you imagine living in a house like that? Yeah. Oh, I know it's small, but you know, yeah, I don't think I want to wander through this path that's not been trodden, minding I don't squish any of the small trees that may have been planted. You know, I don't know if that's been planted. I don't know if it's just sprung up on its own. I don't want to harm any of their trees. So yeah, you know, I could quite happily be a monk, I think. I really could. Especially as I see plenty of monks smoking cigarettes still. You know, I could be one of those monks. I'm a good monk. Kind, caring, considerate. Just have a bad habit when it comes to smoking. Oh, this path's been worn down. So is it going to be another monk's house at the end of this path? What do you all reckon? Leave it on the comments. Another monk's home, hidden further away from the others? Or is it going to be a bit of scenery? Or is it going to just be nothing? Looking now, it looks like there's going to be nothing, but you can see this path's been worn here, and a bit of a path going that way as well. Not that I'm a tracker or anything, you know, you can just tell, you know, there's no grass. Clearly people have been walking along here or riding motorbikes along here. Well, saying that, it could actually just be water that's streamed down here that makes it look like it's a path, and it's not. It's just where the water's come through. It's a very odd place to be having a temple. Literally in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't appear to be any fantastic views. Looking down into any valleys or anything. No lakes, no rivers, no ponds. Very, very peculiar location. Well, anyway, my curiosity, because the sign I couldn't read, there wasn't anything coming up on Google Maps, so I didn't know what it was. Didn't know if it was a temple, you know, another waterfall, or anything basically, because I couldn't get the information on Google Maps. So, a very, very slow, very careful drive back up to the sign that could take you, like I said earlier, it could take you straight onto Champi waterfall, or you can take a left and you end up going down a very twisty, very windy, very dusty, sandy track. I'm not going to call it a road. because to say it was a road would suggest it's paved of some sort, and it's not been paved at all. In fact, quite a lot of Laos, I've noticed from when I was here in the rainy season, they've re-skimmed a lot of these side roads. They don't necessarily repave them, but what they do is they go through them with like a bulldozer. Would it be a bulldozer? I'm not that au fait with plant machinery, but you know, like a scrape it along basically is what I'm saying. They go along with the bucket and they basically scrape the top to level it out, try and take the ruts out and things like that. So they're not actually putting anything down, they're just kind of smoothing it out again. And then there's never been a digger down this road ever. It is very rutted, you know, you can see where the tyres of the trucks have been, and obviously they've come through during the rainy season, because obviously no doubt they still need to get supplies and this, that and the other. So the trucks have obviously kind of forced their way through this sandy kind of soil, and just left massive like divots everywhere, you know. For a motorbike's not too bad, because obviously you can weave around a lot of it, so it's not actually that much of an issue. I mean, I'm assuming the temple must own all this land. And for like a retreat, although you could do with a lot more shade in them, to be fair. I don't think these pine trees are doing that great a job of giving that much shade. Yeah, but you know, scenery wise, let's have a wander to see what this structure, if it's a structure, or whether or not they're actually just put in like a forest of trees and they're just put in the poles to support them. You know, you see this like struts. And they do that when they replant these big trees that have moved from other sites, until obviously they get a root system and are anchored in properly themselves. But as I mentioned earlier, it does look as if some of them have had notches taken out of them, so they suggest that they're not actually replanting trees. It looks like what they might be doing is building, or preparing to build, an actual wooden temple, which would be nice, because you know that will then go back to the traditional ways of making temples, you know, before I started using concrete for everything. Obviously a wooden temple, which is what I'm assuming this is going to end up being, will be susceptible to insects and, you know, rot and all the rest of it. So it's understandable why they make most temples now out of concrete. Obviously there's all sorts of chemicals and things you can paint onto the wood to stop the termites coming in. Very odd indeed. You see the notches have been taken out, but seem to be varying heights. I mean, I'm not a builder, and I certainly have no idea on how to build wooden structures. See, they've raised the level slightly. So obviously, even though it appears that we're actually quite high up here, you know, from the surrounding land, we seem to be on a bit of a mound, a bit of a hill. So I'm surprised they've had to build the soil up like that. That's what they do everywhere. I've said this before, folks, if you're ever planning on starting a business in Southeast Asia, it's not specific to Thailand or Laos, it'll be the same in Cambodia. I think it's basically Southeast Asia full stop. earth moving equipment like diggers and trucks and excavators and all that kind of thing, you will have customers. You will find customers. See, those cut-ins, they all seem, they're in line, aren't they? Yeah. So obviously they're just the ones inside. Obviously the roof's going to be a lot higher. Oh, I don't know. Let's have a look, see. Okay, so we've got a wooden post, and they put a concrete base with some rebar in. Okay. Which I don't know why they splay the rebar out like that. Again, I'm not an expert. You know, there's pieces of wood getting ready here. That and that's not pine, I don't think. I'm not a wood expert, but I don't think it's pine. Maybe it is. It could be pine. Maybe that's where they're getting the wood from. Obviously pine trees do grow, you know, they go straight. So for structures and things like that, they're actually very good wood to use, you know. See, if you try and use a tree like that, well, I don't know what it is actually, maybe an olive tree or something, but anyway, olive trees grow in that similar way. You can't use that wood for anything, can you? It's not straight enough. But pine, at least the main trunk part, it's normally really, really straight. See, this one, it looks like it's just blown over in the wind. The way it's torn out of there. So maybe that's what the numbers are for. Maybe they've numbered the they're the trees getting ready to be chopped. Oh, eco-friendly. You can't knock it for being ecologically friendly, in as much as their you know, their carbon footprint here will be very low, won't it? Obviously still got to buy nails and obviously the concrete and the rebar and stuff like that for the foundation. Bring that in. But as far as actual, you know, construction materials, obviously the roof as well. Just looking over there, looking at the roof of that one. Obviously they're going to bring some sort of tiles in for the roof. Right, let's go and have